am here for some PulumiVision. We are going to be focusing on Pulumi YAML. I'm also doing a workshop tomorrow if you want to know more about Pulumi YAML, a little more formal way. But today we're just going to kind of play around and see what we can find. So YAML is a new language that's supported in Pulumi. Well, it's the YAML is not new, but it's new to Pulumi. And you might kind of wonder why we might want to do that, because it doesn't have a lot of the constructs and things that some of the other programming languages that we do in Pulumi might have, like conditionals and loops. But it's a really great entry point to get started with Pulumi, and can be used to really kind of create some building blocks of things. So I'm going to kind of do some just very initial. I will be honest, I have not played with this at all. This is my first time touching any Pulumi YAML. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to start with kind of a more basic setup. We're just going to go through I think I just sort of decided to do the Azure, what do you call it? The Azure getting started with YAML, and we'll see how we go. So let's go ahead and share my screen. If anything is hard to read, let me know. So first couple things I always do, I have, Pulumi is already installed. If we take a look, PulumiVision, I'm pretty up to date. I think we're okay. We'll leave it where we're at. And normally you'd have to make sure you've got the appropriate runtime, whether it's Python or Node or anything. The good thing is it's YAML. There is no runtime. So that's pretty easy. And then finally, we just need to make sure that in this case, I'm going to be configuring Azure. So I already have the Azure CLI installed. It's authorized. It's already set up. So we can just dig into some Pulumi here for fun. Because YAML is fun, right? Sweet. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a new directory called YAML. Call it the YAML. That's our project. And we're just going to switch over into there. Now, we are going to go ahead and do a Pulumi new Azure YAML. This is going to be fun for me because I've never seen what happens. Okay, so, normal Pulumi stuff. Project name is inherited from the directory, description, create the stack, and we want sure West US sounds good. Okay, so let's see what did this make. Wow, it gave us a Pulumi. So this is new and different, right? So normally you have a Pulumi.yaml, which just has this metadata. But now we have all this other stuff. This is kind of cool. This is some actual Pulumi in YAML. And if we kind of take a look in our project, we've got our name, the runtime is YAML, easy enough. And then we have all these resources. And then our dev, remember, this shows our configuration. That's specific to the stack, to the dev stack that we're doing. So this is really, and this hello.md was hanging out. We don't need that. That was just me getting some room for some stuff. Okay, so let's kind of take a look. We create a resource group and we specify the type so it knows it's using Azure native. I'm really curious where it pulls this stuff from, right? How it knows what we have. And then an Azure resource. So we have, it's the type, storage account. And then we're able to sort of pull this info. Okay, so, we expand out because we created a resource group which has a .name. Yeah, this all looks like normal stuff. Okay, so just out of curiosity, though, let's see if we said... I don't get any kind of type ahead stuff in here because it's YAML. It doesn't have a library or anything. That makes sense. Okay. So then if we were going to go ahead and do a Pulumi up, Should just work like regular old Pulumi that we're used to. It's gonna. Okay. And create the resources. Cool. That's easy enough. We'll let that go. And yep, it said that it's going to create the storage account, the resource group. So where? I guess Pulumi knows to pull these plugins and stuff because of this. So okay, so that did that stuff. So we could. If we really wanted to, okay, so after we create the storage account, we're going to create a static website because this is just our normal little testing. Okay, this was, okay, SA was the storage account. Okay, so over here, then we'll do static website, right? Which is type, it's Azure native storage account static website. Okay. Properties. Has an account name, which is going to be our storage account name. Okay. And the resource group name. Makes sense that that'll be resource group name. And what's the last thing? Oh, the index document is index.html. Okay. Oh, except it's YAML, Maddie. Strings just are inferred. Okay. Let's go ahead and we need our index.html file. Okay, cool. All right. So we did static website, and then we need to do one more resource to get the index.html up there. So call that one index.html, which is a type Azure native storage blob. Properties. This would be nice if it had, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how you could get type ahead though, because what's it getting this from? It's not a package or anything. That's types. So resource, see, that's why. The source. Oh my God. There we go. Account name. What else do we need to have in here? Oh, container name. I just did this on a meetup. I just did all this in .NET. So static websites. It should know all these parameters, all these properties rather. This is static website container name. And then we need to know the source. Next time. Good question. Okay, so is it possible to start using YAML on a project that already uses a programming language? You can't mix them in the same project, but if what you had that was already written in Python, you could create that as a component that was published as a library, which then that you could wrap that in your YAML project, which is really one of the places I'm seeing a lot of the potential for this is that a lot of the complex logic of your infra code could be, you could write that in Go or in Python or whatever and publish it as a multi-language component that could then just get consumed in the small little building blocks of resources, um, like this. So that was the file asset. And I want to figure out how to, I haven't, content type, text, HTML, name, HTML type is block. Okay. And then under our outputs, we also just want to dump out static endpoints. Should go to sa.primary endpoints.web. So we kind of did that fun stuff. Let's go ahead and invalid line 46. Oh, because that should be a $sign. All right, we'll let that go ahead. All right, so that, and then if we were just to sit there and say curl Pulumi stack output. Yeah. We like to say the YAML's a thing. So I'm trying to see what I can find out about what we could do that lets us get okay, architect. Because I haven't really played yet with like, where does Pulumi YAML get this from? Okay, Pulumi YAML reference guide. Okay. Resources. Okay. Because normally you'd load it in as a library or something for whatever provider you want to use, but how do you tell it? Does it just figure it out from a namespace? That's all. It's the language provider, but let's see. Pulumi getting started. Yeah. That's a really good question. Okay, I'm trying to figure this out, and let's poke around. Maybe we'll share my screen as we look through the internet here. So I was trying to look a little bit at the project itself here, at the language provider. So all right, yeah. Because what does it? Let's see. Okay, so this is telling us. Okay. Yep. Pulumi plugin install. That's fine. Okay, we have a bunch of examples. Yeah, so this type. So where do these types come from? Are they? This seems like a really good thing I'd want to figure out. I'm gonna ask a question and see if anybody knows. Somebody was sending me a message. All right. Well, so that didn't give us anything, but let's look at some of these other examples of things we can do. That's the getting started. Pulumi variable. Yep, these are still all because they're all just coming from the resource always starts with AWS. So like where does it load these from? It's very interested. It's not a camel though, PJ. I can tell you that. All right. Well, let's see. Take a look at the blog. And probably wrote something. Yeah. Oh no, that's not the blog. Let's okay. Let's see what we see here. Okay, so this is all right. So this example. Okay, that's the EKS package, but where did that? There's a lot of cool stuff we can do with this, but I'm not quite sure where it goes. All right, well, let's see what's. We are all the YAML engineers. Because it's giving us the example of this is using the EKS package. Well, let's take a look at some other stuff around YAML. If we look at, I don't think we have, no, we don't have those in there, but let's look at our fundamentals for YAML, see if there's anything that gives me any ideas. Yeah, see, it's still, because it's Docker, which we know. Let me see what I can find in community Slack. All right. Yeah, I feel like we keep having this conversation about how because we keep going into this thing where we have an EKS package that can be consumed in YAML, but I don't know where it gets that from. This is very confusing. All right. Well, you're watching me learn and ask a lot of questions. All right. Well, what else can we learn about YAML? Let's see. Let's look at languages. Let's read more about YAML. Okay. So we talked about the getting started. We had the different templates. So if we look back at the reference guide, okay. All right. So those are outputs, variables. I feel like I'm missing something really blatantly obvious here, but I can't see where there's anything that tells it where these providers come from. It's just there's nothing hiding. This might be about as far as I can get with this right now because I'm kind of running into a block. Well, we've seen that we could create some stuff that was pretty easy if I can figure out how to tell it, how to get it other. Actually, well, you know what? I'm gonna try something just wacky. Let me find. I'm gonna try to find like one of these non-native providers. All right, let's see. So let's go to Pulumi. All right, let's see. If we were to look at, for example, um, actually have Auth0 stuff ready to configure. Okay, so installation and configuration. Yep, we got all that stuff. Okay, so then if we wanted to create, like, let's just say a user in Auth0. Okay, so this gives us some example. So it must be that it has to come from the registry because, yeah. Yeah, so that's my best guess right now is that it's looking up, it has to be published in the registry, which doesn't it seems like something's missing. Well, I'm going to try to find out about this. When I find out a little bit more, will tweet about it. So follow me on Twitter. Maybe we'll put some comments on the YouTube. But also tomorrow, if you want to dig in a little bit more into this, if you go to pulumi.com/resources, you'll see we have a workshop. Coming up is this introduction infrastructure as code with Pulumi YAML. I'll just drop this into the chat. If you want to come and register for that,